One of the most infamous creatures of the multiverse, the Sliver Hive Mind brings with it great power. Even in a format such as Pauper, it's possible to build a competitive Sliver tribal deck. This deck, unlike many of its counterparts in other formats, is not 5 colors but 2. In this deck we will be running green and white. Our strategy will be just as simple, getting out powerful slivers and attacking with those slivers. This is a very straightforward deck, and as a result, it is the perfect beginning point for players to wet their feet in perhaps the best budget format for Magic the Gathering. Let's take a look at what's inside. To start this off, all of our slivers that we will be running in this build give the benefit to all of our slivers, so there is a lot of overlap and redundancy with abilities, which works to our advantage as many of these creatures will provide a very similar function to one another. We have our buff slivers, which include Muscle Sliver, Predatory Sliver, and Sinew Sliver. Each of these will give a buff of +1/+1 to all of our slivers. We also run Plated Sliver, who gives a toughness boost, which is always good to counter any pinging off that might be attempted. Our next set of slivers gives some combat boons. Sentinel Sliver gives our army vigilance, which makes them primed to defend us on the opponent's turn even after setting an attack. Sidewinder Slivers gives our slivers flanking. Flanking is an older ability that weakens creatures attempting to block our attacks if they do not also have flanking. So if a field of 1/1 creatures tries to block our attacking slivers who have flanking, they will be doing so in vain as their creatures will all die. We also have Talon Sliver, which gives our army first strike. This ability is very vicious in Pauper due to the low frequency of first and double striking creatures. Combining it with the power boosts that our other slivers will give off, our creatures will be very difficult to defeat in combat. And to finish our offensive package, we carry a playset of Virulent Sliver, who gives Poisonous 1 to all of our slivers. Poisonous 1 functions very much like Infect in that it gives poison counters to opponents. But unlike Infect, where the combat damage to the opponent is dealt instead in Infect counters, our Poisonous counters will only be given 1 per creature. Last but not least, we run a playset of Gemhide Slivers to make all of our slivers into mana dorks. This will help us dump our creatures into play fast and efficiently. Now for our non-creature spells, we're only running 1 in the main board. Commune with Nature. It lets us dig through the top 5 cards of our library to find a sliver we may need when we need them. And for our mana base, we also run that very simple. 10 forests and 10 plains. We don't need much more than that for this deck. Now on to our sideboard. This part is very flexible based on your meta needs, and some of these cards you can consider running. Distant Melody is a blue spell. With your Gemhide Sliver, you can create the blue mana using your slivers. This will give you a huge amount of card advantage as you dump scores of slivers into play and refill your hand to get more slivers. Gleeful Sabotage will help you eliminate any pesky artifacts that you may encounter, and Journey to Nowhere will remove any creatures you need eliminating. And lastly, a few copies of Quick Sliver to give your slivers flash to add in some extra combat tricks to the mix. But of course you can add in certain other cards that you may feel more appropriate for your sideboard. All in all, this is a very budget deck at only $30 in paper Magic. This is also about 15 ticks in online Magic, which translates to about $15 if you're buying the tickets. But either way, you're able to put together a very solid and very fun deck for entering the Pauper format. I hope you've enjoyed this deck tech. If so, remember to leave a like down below and share this video with your Magic play group. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and finally, remember to subscribe to the Planeswalker Project for more Magic the Gathering videos like this one. And thank you!